This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Peninsula Regional Medical Center.
He is a racing legend. Richard Petty has a record 200 career wins under his belt, 7 NASCAR Cup championships. He's in a number of halls of fame and owns his own racing team. But in 1995, Richard Petty was faced with a new challenge, prostate cancer. Now he's raising awareness of the disease, particularly among our nation's veterans, and we are happy to welcome Richard Petty to Delmarva Life this afternoon, along with Artie Shelton, a former U.S. Army physician and combat veteran. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Mr. Petty, would you please share with us your journey with prostate cancer?
Well, 1995, I have a yearly checkup to make sure I'm still breathing okay, and then they were able to find that I had prostate cancer. And so my wife and myself goes back to the doctor and talk to him. He gives us 3 or 4 different ways of overcoming it. And so we make a decision and go home, tell our kids what we're doing. Everything's going to be okay. So in about a month and a half, 2 months, I went back and they took care of it. And I've been kicking pretty hard ever since. So it can be overcome.
So how are you doing now? Is everything good to go?
Yeah, I'm wide open as far as that goes, and really we're on this campaign to show your stripes, and really it's we're trying to get to the veterans. The majority of the veterans are 65 or older, and this is where prostate cancer really starts showing up on people when they get to be 60, 65 years old. So we're trying to bring it out to the veterans, to everybody else as far as that's concerned. And anybody that thinks they're having any trouble or have had trouble or need some help needs to go to myprostatecancerroadmap.com, and you get all kinds of information about what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
We'll be sure to put that link on our website as well to make sure everybody can get a hold of that. What was it that made you want to get involved with the veterans so much?
Well, the veterans are the ones that keep us all going as far as that's concerned. No matter what goes on in the world or what goes on in the United States, if we didn't have veterans to have kept everything straight and easy for us, because I like racing naturally, and I go to the racetracks and do all that. All the spectators come out. The veterans are the ones that give us that security that we can do that. We're not having to be able to not be able to come back and say, thank you, veterans, for letting us do what we want to do. And so this is another way of us paying back to the veterans of doing their service all those years. We're trying to come back and say, okay, you all go check and make sure that y'all can live the rest of your life in a happy situation.
So Artie, as a former Army physician and a combat veteran yourself, this meant a lot to you as well.
Yes, it did. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, in 2003, and have become a very strong advocate, doing that since that period of time. And it's because of my, issue with prostate cancer that I wanted to reach out and and launch a campaign with the King and with Janssen Biotech to really provide information and resources to the to veterans and other men about prostate cancer. And we want to make sure that we provide we can provide this information to them by the website myprostatecancerroadmap.com. That will provide a lot of information to the veteran, also to the families and friends and healthcare providers. And we also have a veteran-specific guide on that site for our veterans.
Artie Shelton, Richard Petty, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon with some very important information. Terrific stuff right there. Now, if you'd like more information on what they just discussed today, go to delmarvalife.com, click on the show tab. You'll find the other links they referred to. You'll find our show tab on the left side of our homepage now. Well, Richard certainly is not alone. As a matter of fact, prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers in men. About 1 in 6 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime.
The good news is most men don't die from it. The American Cancer Society says that's because screenings such as prostate exams can catch the disease early. And our next guest is Dr. Mark Adney, Chief of Surgery and a urologist with Peninsula Regional Medical Center. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off with what is prostate cancer exactly?
So prostate cancer, like any other kind of cancer, is when the cells of the prostate in men learn to grow uncontrollably. Most normal cells have a life cycle where they grow, develop, and then die and to be replaced by new cells. What cancer is the unregulated growth of new cells such that tumors develop, and then those cancers can then spread to other parts of the body.
So is this something that usually occurs in older men?
Most of the time it is in older men. We say men in their 60s and 70s are the most at risk for developing prostate cancer, but it also can occur in men in their 40s and 50s.
Now, when you're talking the prostate, where exactly is it anatomy-wise?
Prostate sits in the pelvis. It's behind the pubic bone in men, so below the bladder, beneath the pubic bone.
Show us where in this picture that we're looking. Down towards the bottom.
So
right?
Down towards the bottom of the picture, you can see the balls of the hip joints there.
Right.
And right in the center of your screen, you see a lighter area, that's the bladder, and right underneath the bladder, you see a thickened area that's round, almost looks like a small ball, and that's actually the prostate gland right underneath the bladder.
Okay.
Now, there are some people, like with a lot of cancers, who are more at risk for developing the disease than others?
Absolutely. There are higher risk populations, particularly African Americans. They have a higher rate of getting the disease. When they get it, they tend to get a more aggressive variant of the disease, and in fact, the death rate from prostate cancer is higher in African Americans. So they're a unique high risk population. Also men with a family history. If you have a father or brother who developed the disease at age 55 or under, you're at higher risk of having prostate cancer.
So are there symptoms we can look for to tell us it's a good idea to get a screening?
Actually, there aren't, and that's one of the key elements and the key messages is that prostate cancer, when it develops, almost never causes symptoms early on in the course, and that leads to the importance of the PSA blood test, which is the screening test that we use, in conjunction with a digital exam or a finger exam of the prostate. Both tests together constitute prostate screening. Most men never have the first symptom when prostate cancer first develops. So
when should they start getting that prostate screening?
The American Urologic Association, which is urology's national organization, recommends having the conversation with men starting at age 40. Certainly in men who are in those high-risk population, African American men and men with a family history, should probably get their first PSA and first exam when they're 40 years old. They don't need it every year after that point. You could probably check again at 45 and then again at 50, but probably after 50 an annual exam is a good idea. But it's an individualized decision. PSA testing should not be done for everyone carte blanche. We need to be selective about who might benefit from PSA testing, but that conversation really needs to happen starting when men turn 40.
Okay, now you're saying there's really not clear-cut symptoms in the beginning stages. Are there symptoms for the more advanced stages?
Absolutely. Once prostate cancer leaves the prostate, it tends first to go to lymph nodes and then it tends to go to bones by and large. It's very rare for it to go to lungs and liver and some other places where you hear cancer might go to. For prostate cancer, it tends to move to the bones. And so one of the main symptoms can be bone pain.
Yeah.
And so for advanced cancer, pain in the ribs, in the spine, in the large bones of the legs, those are common symptoms once cancer has spread to the bones. And if the prostate is remained in place and if it had not been detected until it became advanced, you can get what we call local urinary symptoms, slowing of the urinary stream, blood in the urine. But again, those are advanced cases of disease, not early cases.
So if I'm feeling these things, I need to run to the doctor and say, hey, I think I got prostate cancer?
No, not at all. These advanced symptoms actually can come with lots of different parts of, lots of different disease processes. And so absolutely, if you're having a new pain in a bone or a joint, those things are common, but have a full evaluation by your doctor. And certainly for older men, the prostate is a consideration while you're investigating these sorts of pains.
So how is it treated?
So for prostate cancer that's found early, usually again with the PSA test and the exam, the options really are surgery to remove it, or you can deliver radiation to the prostate, and there are two different ways that radiation is commonly delivered. What we call external radiation therapy, where radiation is delivered from outside the body, or radioactive seeds can be implanted into the prostate, and that's called brachytherapy. So two different ways to deliver radiation. Finally, another option is what's called cryotherapy. That's freezing the prostate. And so a patient goes to sleep and probes are inserted into the prostate with ultrasound guidance. An ice ball is created and the prostate can then be frozen as an effective treatment for the cancer.
This is a surgical solution, right?
Right. So what you're seeing on the screen now is the steps of the procedure when we remove a prostate for cancer. So this is the surgical option. The prostate's removed. You can see that it sits between the bladder and the urethra. The prostate's removed, and then there's a new connection created between the urethra and the bladder. That's called the anastomosis. And then a Foley catheter is placed across that new connection to let it heal for about a week. And then the catheter is removed. Wow. You can see in yellow there are the nerves that travel alongside the prostate. We talk about sparing the nerves when we remove a prostate. Yeah. Leaving those yellow nerves behind gives men the best chance of retaining their potency or sexual function and their continence after surgery.
Dr. Edney, thank you so much for this important information. Terrific stuff that you need to know. If you'd like to know more from PRMC on prostate cancer, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. It's on the left side of our homepage now.
And still ahead on Delmarva Life, you know, things happen in life where we need to get a lawyer involved, and that's why it's important to choose someone who will carry you through the process. Up next, the Law Office of Tunnel and Razor in Sussex County explains what you need to know when it comes to legal matters, plus more on the history of their firm. And later, Plin art artist Diane Laird is painting away. We can't wait to see the finished piece in just a little while. Delmarva Life will be right back.